Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode. I have a very special guest here today who I'm so excited to introduce. We were aligned through Instagram. I've been following Danna Omari, who you may know from Instagram. I've been following her for a while now. I feel like during COVID, I was really drawn to her. Just the videos that would pop up on my Instagram, her outer beauty and her inner beauty that just shines through and is so reflective in every video and every post that she puts out. So I'm so excited to welcome Danna here to the podcast today. She's an esthetician and recently been on a health journey that has led her to meditation, healing, and all of these really 5D experiences. So welcome, Danna, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so excited too. I can't wait to dive in. I was thinking yesterday of all the things I want to ask you, but I want you to just take a moment to introduce yourself, what you're doing here on the planet for work, as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner, and beyond.
Okay, so I'm Danna. I'm an esthetician for 15 years now, but also a spa owner. We have a location in NYC. I wouldn't say we're completely holistic, but definitely that's definitely what I'm aligned with more. The natural alternative, holistic modalities, slowing down the aging process. I don't like too many machines, too much equipment in the facial room. The hands are super powerful, and simplifying. I'm all about simplifying one's routine, taking care of yourself on, a mind, body, spirit, in that kind of way.
Beautiful. I had the pleasure of visiting your salon. It is so beautiful. And as soon as you walk in, you feel like that natural element just in the decor and the products you have. And the gua sha facial was truly next level.
It's very unique. It's very different. It was very different than what I learned at school, but it's funny because I always knew that there was more. There was more than what they were teaching us, than what we were supposed to do in the treatment room. And so it was just the evolution and how I came to learn about gua sha and facial massage and healing somebody's skin in a very fundamental and basic way. Just sort of, it was just all intuitive. I knew it was going to happen. I was searching for it, and it came to me slowly over the years. And that's where I'm meant to be. And it's funny because I have some of the best equipment. I have lasers and I have microcurrent machines and so many great modalities, but people continue to come back to experience gua sha, to experience the buckle. They just love that more than any other service.
Yeah. It's so interesting. And I feel like that brings us back to nature too, because the stone, I told you when I first bought your stone. So I chose to get your stone because I wanted to invest in this practice. I was like, I'm ready. I want to be committed. And this is like a work of art. And the frequency, I just saw it. And when I received it, I'm very sensitive. My listeners know I'm very sensitive to energy. And as I was using it the first time, I felt such a high frequency when I would go close to my ears because I'm sensitive to frequencies and I feel what that holds. It's just such a beautiful piece of nature, but also equipment that we could use for our face. It's really so special. But it's interesting that those are the two that are most requested, I guess, and most popular, because if you think about it, it's the one where there's like no machine getting in between the human and that natural piece. So that's really cool.
Yeah. So I feel like aesthetics in general and skincare therapists in the industry, it's evolving. We're becoming more of like healers, as opposed to what I learned to extract the skin, disinfect the skin, and I'll see you again in a month. It's just become something so different. We're working with the skin, not against the skin. We're guiding the skin to do what it already knows how to do. It's so, in today's world, there's so much out there, so much to do for our skin. And so there are a lot of distractions. But when we scale back, when we cut out all of the distractions, our skin starts to heal. It knows what to do. We just kind of guide it.
So true. And I have chills because it is about that process of really, that process of going back to working with the body, whether it's like, it reminds me of holistic health too, like working with the body to be able to allow it to do what it knows to do. And it's the same for it's the same for the skin and the approach that you're using.
I feel like people know also intuitively that that's what their skin needs.
Yeah.
So they're looking for it and they're captivated when they try it or when they see me doing these things on Instagram because they already intuitively know and are drawn to that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's something that you have to be open to. You know, so many times I get this question consistently on my Instagram, no matter how much I tell people, like, do I get Botox injections, fillers? It's really hard for people to believe that I don't do that stuff. And that alone just shows me how much I have to spread this even more, because that thought alone is what's wrong with a lot of what's going on today with people doing things to themselves. I want to be a better example for my children. I feel like it's very, very, very okay to do those things. If you really, you know, if you're called to it, if you're very self-conscious about it. We've spoken about injections before. But why not try the natural alternative first? Why not believe that something can help as opposed to, you know, a quick fix like that?
Absolutely. And oh yeah, we have had these conversations because I was at the point where everyone around me and my circle is pretty much, you know, going that route. And it's hard. Like, and with all the meditation I do, I know that, I know that I am always aligned to my highest decision, but when there are outside things happening and that's all you're seeing, you start to question, like, wait, can I really age gracefully? And you have been such an inspiration in that way. And what I've also started to do and implement with the guasa and the sea buckthorn oil, I've also been, because there's thoughts, aging is challenging for, at least for me. Like I find it to be a challenging process. And I actually did a whole episode on just like my inner thoughts on aging in the times that we're living in. But what I've started to do, anytime I hear the voice of the critic come in, I literally say, my skin is producing collagen every single day. I am continuing to age gracefully, and I'm literally speaking into existence what I want to feel and receive, because I truly believe that on a healing level, an energy level. And I know that my thoughts can create my reality. So that's a new practice that I've added in, because the outside noise can get so loud. And I appreciate your voice in aging and your philosophy on aging. It's been a true inspiration to me and has helped me to stay aligned to my highest path in that way.
I love that. I love that you like speak it into, you know, manifesting that. I never even thought about doing that, because I tell myself we're aging. It's natural. It's supposed to happen, you know, but let this be a challenge for myself to do it gracefully. And I love that. And then I share it with my followers, with my audience. And I get people every single day, just like you, who, if it's something that you're insecure about that requires injection, or I get it. I get that voice being, overwhelming and a little bit, you want to go there. But at the same time, I think it's important to change the conversation with ourselves of what it means to get older, to age gracefully. Why is a wrinkle a bad thing? You know, why? Why is it an ugly thing? I've seen women who are in their 60s, 70s. My mom, she's never done injections. She's never done anything like that to her face. And she's beautiful, even with a little bit of jowls and a little wrinkle here and there. It's beautiful. My grandma, she's 94 years old. She has wrinkles, but her skin she's taking care of her skin. She looks healthy. She's vibrant. She's glowing. Yeah. So you could still be beautiful with a little bit of, a wrinkle here and there.
It's so true. It really is. How did you know you wanted to become an esthetician?
So I had awful skin. Like I I had acne in high school, a little bit more than the normal teenage acne. And I had a friend who also had acne, but it didn't bother her as much. For me, it bothered me. Like it was the first thing that I would look at on other people. I would wish for good skin. I was also very hairy. So I was like, you know, full of pimples. I had a lot of insecurities with my aesthetic in that sense. And then when I was 19, my skin freaked out after going on antibiotics for when I was 17, my skin calmed down a lot and I had maybe one, two pimples popping up. I went on antibiotics. I went to a dermatologist. They put me on antibiotics. Little did I know that completely messed everything up for me and my skin like broke out like you can't even imagine. My face, my chest, my neck, everywhere. It was summertime and I would wear like a turtleneck or like a scarf. I just didn't know what to do. And I was going to college at Pace University in NYC. The plan was to get my credits, 60 credits, and to move on to acupuncture
Oh,
school.
wow.
My mother's an acupuncturist, and she's always inspired me. We're very close. We have a very close relationship, and I wanted to be like her. And she also had like the most perfect skin. She was just like the most perfect beauty in my eyes, inside and
She
out.
is beautiful.
Yeah, and I remember when I was in high school, she was when I was in middle school, she started studying acupuncture, and I just loved it. I loved it. I was drawn to it, so I embarked on that. Did it for a year. Was not for me. Just was not for me at all. You have to live, breathe, everything. TCM, acupuncture. But a girl that I was going to school with, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so lost. I want to do, acupuncture for the face. I wanted to do like facial rejuvenation with needles, to help women with their skin because my mom was helping me with my skin with herbs and acupuncture, and I was seeing a difference. So it was kind of like a dilemma because I was a little bit lost. And she was like, why don't you become an esthetician? You are obsessed with skin. I'm like, what is that? I've never even heard that term, which is funny because I was going to an esthetician all throughout high school. She would just extract my skin. I'd see her again in a month. My parents paid for it. They took me. It was brutal, but it was something that I just did. I never knew that's what they were called. And it was like a light bulb. It was like an aha moment. And I was like so excited. And excitement came over me like I never experienced before. Like I knew that was what I was meant to do. And I dropped out and went to aesthetic school like almost like a month after.
Wow. And then before you said how like you knew there was something more than what you were learning. And that was just like a feeling within you. Like you just felt that in your soul.
Yeah. Yeah. Because school for estheticians, it's really actually quite sad. I don't know if it's like that anywhere else in the world, but in America, I wish it would be a little bit better, a lot better. It's very basic. You go, you get your credits, and then you learn how to be an esthetician. So I knew when I went to school that this isn't what I'm going to be doing. There's more to taking care of the skin. There's more to getting on the right skincare. There's more because I was battling with a really, really bad acne, like a bout of acne. So I knew that slapping on a couple of products or getting extractions, it's not going to cure or treat my acne. It's very temporary.
Yeah. The testimonials you share on the sea buckthorn oil are amazing. Like I use the oil every time I gua sha. I love it. It leaves the skin feeling so soft, but I feel the testimonials that stand out to me are that people literally heal their skin, whether it's acne or I think I see psoriasis or eczema with this oil. And to think about putting oil on acne, like I feel like we have to take down so many of those limiting thoughts and beliefs that we might remember from like that old way of, like the acids on the face or the extractions. And then to see these testimonials and how they're achieving this through that oil is incredible.
Yes. Yes. And if you read about oil cleansing and the mechanism and what it's doing, you're going to be like, wow, that makes sense. Okay. That makes sense. First of all, oil likes oil. So to cleanse the skin with an oil, it's really able to thoroughly extract and remove all the dirt and the grime while leaving the beneficial oils in the skin, the nourishing oils, because you don't want to strip your skin completely of its natural oils. We need our oils. So by over exfoliating or over cleansing with foaming sudsy cleansers, or using, we think that we have acne and we have to just throw all of these acids, like we have to go to war with our skin. But that's not true. We have to scale back. We have to calm inflammation, right? Because acne is inflammation. So let's calm it for a second. Obviously, acne stems from an internal imbalance as well. This is number one. But for some people, it could be mostly external from what they were doing or not doing, what they were using, how they were using it. Because the people who really get that healing from a grade 3 acne to like literally nothing, as you've seen, it's external. They targeted, maybe they did some dietary changes, but it depends the level of how deep internally you have to treat the acne. You have to address it from both internal and external. But if you can, where you have the power is what you're doing externally. And that means cutting back on everything that you're using. Doesn't mean throwing your products away, but it's scaling back and using less, calming inflammation, and restoring balance in the skin, right? Cutting out the distractions, the active, the exfoliants, the foaming cleansers, and restoring that balance that of your skin's natural state, basically.
Yeah. Like the homeostasis, finding that balance in that space of work. Right?
Exactly. And that's really something that how did I come about the sea buckthorn in general? So I had this spa, and I used to just do a lot of research about products. And I remember following this esthetician, a blog on this esthetician. I don't know even where she is. I don't know who she is. It was like 11 years ago or something like that. And I had a lot of time at the beginning, like at the very beginning, 10 years ago at the spa. And I would like search, and she would talk a lot about different products, but for some reason, she made one blog post about this one product, the sea buckthorn oil. And it's like something made me buy it and try it. And it's so funny because she would talk about so many products, and just one time she mentioned this one product. It's like I was meant to find it. I was meant to share it. Everything sort of like worked. It was just aligned. And then I bought it. I used it, but not the way that I tell people now. I used it like a pre-cleanser almost. Like I would use it first, then foaming cleanser. And it was nice, but nothing crazy. Then a couple of years later, I got pregnant with Eva. My skin was like not doing so well. I was breaking out, and I would try every single thing that I had at my disposal at the spa that's always worked for me with breakouts, and nothing was working. I remembered about this oil. I'm like, let me try it and just use it. I don't know what made me just use it as a cleanser and moisturizer. Within 5 days, everything cleared. And I'm like, from this point on, I'm sharing it with the world.
It's so cool. I had such chills when you were sharing that you just knew. I feel that you are just so intuitive, and it appears, of course, you work hard, but it appears that your intuition has guided so much of your success. And that's just what it seems like as an outsider. And then, of course, getting to know you, just following your gut and knowing when to lean in and to trust and to align. And you've created such a tremendous, loyal online community. When you ever, when you share a meditation, my Instagram blows up. It's like, it's the most wild thing. Like you have created, something so powerful, and you're using that quote unquote influence in such a beautiful way. And it's been so great getting to know you because you truly are as beautiful as you appear on Instagram, and even more so, like getting to know your spirit and your soul. And you just deserve all of the success, and it's wonderful to watch. And I'm so grateful that we've become aligned and you're here to share all of this. What else, other than your intuition that we've seen led to so much of your success and that inner knowing, what else do you contribute to having such a successful spa platform and business?
Wow, that's such a loaded question because there were so many decisions, and like it had a lot to do with timing that led me to where I am today. And what people don't realize is that it really was a very difficult journey at first. Like I was working 6 days a week from
Wow.
9 to 9, physically working, but I was young, but I also wanted to become a mother. So I was pregnant and working and working and working, and a baby and working and getting pregnant again and working, and just really loving what I was doing. But also it was the only way we were making a living, Dave and I. So I had to put in the work, right? But then in 2017, when I went to learn the buckle massage, which
That's what
also
I
just
wanted to ask
blew
you
up.
about too. So feel free to
Um,
expand on that.
it's so crazy. It was 2017. I had an employee. I've always had wonderful estheticians. Really, I got so lucky. But then in 2017, we let go one of our estheticians. We didn't click, we didn't vibe. It was a little bit of a toxic energy. Um, but it was also hard because I had stepped away from the room because I had Eva, and I was now had two babies. They were young, and I wanted to be at home more. And and she was making us a lot of money. She was very good. She was very good. But I was like, I told Dave, I'm like, I don't care. We are letting her go, which we never had to do before. And I will jump back into the room, and I'm going to pick up the spa again. Like I'm going to bring it alive, because what happened was the spa, I feel like it was going like this at first, and then it was just staying like this for years. And it just at one point you either
Yeah.
have to scale or
Yep.
you're gonna fall. So I had this sudden urge to just get back in, and I told myself I'm never gonna leave the treatment room again, ever, ever, because it almost didn't feel like mine for a little time. Like it felt like I was depending on someone else, and I didn't like that feeling. And so I let her go. I jumped back in. It was very tough because I haven't been in a while, and she had a lot of regulars. But I gave them to all my other girls and me, but I was like, I gotta learn something new, something fresh. I need massage. Like this is not the microcurrents, the laser genesis. Good, it's all good and wonderful, but I gotta learn massage, and I don't know where. There's nowhere. So I was Googling. I found this guy who was Russian, but also living in Israel, so Russian Israeli. And I watched a video of his, and I was like, I have to learn how to do that. I was like, I have to learn how to do that. So I messaged him on Facebook I didn't have Instagram at this point. This was 2017. And I asked him, I'm like, you teach in America? And he said, no. And I'm like, you have to come and teach me. So he was like, maybe I'll get back to you if and when we ever do. 2 months later, I think I messaged him a couple more times, like bothering him. And then 2 months later, he messaged me and he's like, we have made a training, a group of women, and we're going to meet in Staten Island, and I'm going to teach this technique. And I was like, I'm coming. And he's like, just a heads up, everyone's Russian. Like, it's going to be in Russian. And I'm like, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm like, I really don't care. I will be there.
Yes.
I will use my eyes. Okay. And the good thing is that he knew a little bit of Hebrew. So him and I can, I was able to, but when I tell you I was so lost during that training, after the first day, I drove all the way to Staten Island, didn't understand a single word, drove all the way back, had to do that for 4 days. It was very unprofessional, it was his first. And he was just like, he was having lunch with a glass of wine and, coming back 2 hours later. And it was like an expensive course, at the time. And I was like, whatever, I'm just going to extract whatever I can from this. And then I would go home and I would cry to Dave and I'd be like, I suck and I can't understand anything. And all the other girls there, they're totally picking it up because they understand the language. Anyway, at the end, I bought the video that he gave us. And I sat with one of my clients who's Russian, and she helped me translate. And because there are intricacies when it comes to learning facial massage. And I knew that. I'm not just going to, you have to know little things about how to place your hands, whether to use the tips or the palms, how to move your body, how to position, how to work inside the mouth. Wow, now you're working in people's mouths, you can cause harm. And so she would help me. And then I would also sit with my mother-in-law because Dave is Russian, and she would help me. And then I would just start to practice on clients, just little movements. And I started to slowly pick it up. At that time, nobody was doing the buckle. Nobody, not in the US, not in New York. And Dave decided to take a friend that he knew from high school to try to do PR for us. She was like, you got to go with the buckle. That's our only angle. I'm like, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so new at this. She's like, well, you're going to have to act and you're going to have to pretend that you know what you're doing. Then Meghan Markle got engaged, and she said that she loves to get the buckle massage done because it's very popular in London and it was popular in France, just in general in Europe. And it blew up. Then E! News contacted us, my publicist, and then New York Magazine, The Cut, we had this break. And that's what I mean when I talk about timing, and it was an in. I had an in, but when I tell you I was so bad at it, and I was doing it on editors, and I started getting really busy. And at the same time, the same summer that I learned how to do the buckle, so it was the summer of 2017, I got pregnant with Dewey, with Eden, and I also started Instagram. But this time when I started Instagram, because I had tried it back in 2014 and I was it was just awful. So this time when I started Instagram, I don't know what it was, but I would see all these makeup videos and I would say, there's no esthetician that I follow. And there were some big names that I used to follow that does this, that makes videos, that does tutorials, that it feels very unattainable when you see these celebrity estheticians, and it doesn't feel like they're speaking to the consumer. It's more they're speaking to the celebs, the high-end customers. And I was like, I need to make videos of me in the treatment room working on clients and me doing facial treatments on myself. And it was really bad at the beginning. I couldn't form a sentence. But I kept practicing. I remember having a big influencer at that time who came to me. And I asked her, I'm like, how do you do it? I can't talk into the camera. I feel stupid. And she was like, just freaking practice. Just talk to yourself in front of the camera. And eventually you don't feel stupid. And that's what I did. And I really feel like that's what set me apart from a lot of women in the industry at first, because it
Yeah.
was kind of one
That's
of the
so
first.
awesome. That's such an amazing story.
It
So
was cool. It
exciting.
was
And it's so cool
exciting.
to hear like how it all started. I remember the other week, I think you posted that you started your account in 2018. I'm like, what? How? Like, it's so wild because, a lot of the people we see with huge followings, not everyone, but a lot of them have been like those OG Instagram bloggers or whatever they were sharing since the beginning. And to know that you started during, I feel like the height of Instagram when everyone was on it, and you've been able to create such an amazing and loyal following is such a testament to what you're doing, how you're sharing it, and of course the divine timing that you shared. How did you know that you and Dave, like when did you
Yeah.
decide that you and Dave would work together?
We met very young. I was 18 when I met him. He's 3 years older than me. We started dating when I was 21. And so we were both very young with we didn't have our own job. Like we were working. He was the manager at my dad's restaurant. I was a waitress. I was studying. He didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. It was like we were both starting from scratch. So deciding on opening something together was just a natural progression in our relationship. Like it wasn't this big decision. It was like, that's what we're going to do. He believed in me so much, even when I kind of sucked as an esthetician. He was like, you're so good, because he saw that I just had so much passion for what I did. So he's like, he always wanted to create something and open something and build something, whether it was a restaurant or a bar, whatever. But the fact that I had this trade, um, it just made sense to open a spot together. So when we got engaged when I was 25 and we started talking about opening a business, I was very, like, he brought it up. I was like, I'm not ready at first. But this is like how we are, our relationship. At first, I'm like, no. And then it's like, okay, so maybe we should start looking at locations. Okay, maybe we should just sign on this location. Maybe we should. It starts to like, it starts from an innocent conversation, brainstorming, and it really starts to develop into the real thing. And I feel like that's part of our success, is that we just kept going and
It's
taking
awesome. And it's
small
cool to
risks.
hear that you kind of started from scratch together and you were ready to build a life together as a family, but also as business owners together.
Yes, and it's the best kind of
You have a
partnership,
great dynamic. And it's
right?
actually wild to think about how you work together and have such an awesome dynamic as well, because I'm sure it's hard being in business together at times, but also so beautiful and so incredible at the same time.
Exactly. It's like you said it perfectly, because it can be challenging at times, but it's also the best partnership because there's no ego. There's just loyalty. There is admiration. There's inspiration for one another. We don't get in each other's way. There's no competition. None of that. So we're really able to, the sky's the limit. We're really able to grow it to the best that we
So
possibly can,
special
to
and it's
everything
so
we want.
beautiful, and that energy radiates through every encounter you guys share together. It's really so special. So special.
Thank
So
you.
I feel like
Thank
you've
you.
always been a spiritual person in some way. And recently you've been more on a spiritual journey, working with the healer, dabbling into meditation. Do you want to share a little bit about your meditation practice, what's guided you there, how it's going for you, and your spiritual journey?
So I was in pain for a couple of years with this tumor in my leg. Didn't know it was a tumor. The pain really made me more afraid. The thoughts, the fears, the worries, and that's when I kind of disconnected more and more from myself. And so wanting to connect back with myself, searching for that, for spirituality in my life, I felt like the diagnosis was the first step that
Yeah.
that I took towards that. Like getting the diagnosis, I was like, I can never go back to where I was before. I can never go back to that emptiness. Um, so I have to do the healing. I have to do the meditation. And I've always taken care of myself, but not like that, not with that kind of thing. And so I remember reaching out to you, and I didn't know how much I would fall in love with it. Like, I think 2 months after my surgery, we did a meditation, and I really, from then on, I was doing it every single day for months. And I have now my little, moments where I fall off, but it's still like a non-negotiable kind of thing that a couple times a week. It's a part of my routine. It's a part of my life now, forever. Even just knowing how to breathe better and turning inward, like inside, like being able to have that control over my mind and my thoughts, and it feels very empowering. And I you're a big part of my healing journey as well. So thank you so much. That's why I really do like to share you. And it comes from the heart, because I feel like so many women are in the place where they don't know what meditation can bring to them.
Right. Yeah, it's so true. And it's such a pleasure working with someone like you who really, you were ready for it, as you said. And I always say this practice really does find you and it invites you in. It's a very special type of practice as you experienced. And just hearing and seeing how you connect to it and all that you get out of it is just, it's so powerful and so special. And I'm so grateful that you choose to share that, because it's true. It is super empowering. And I think connecting meditation to the journey of healthy skin, I think we've given and even our health, we've given our power away so much to all of these outside forces. And when we start to realize that we have so much ability to heal ourselves in so many different ways, whether it's spiritually or physically with something like the skin or acne, we can take that power back and find ways to at least maybe not completely heal ourselves with any outside assistance, but really start to generate that within ourselves.
100%. Like, I really witnessed that with myself. It got me through the hardest time of my life, where my thoughts were still very scary. They got the tumor out, but it was still very raw. So having the meditation it really saved me during that time.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some things you feel you learned through this challenging time?
First and foremost, I learned to always listen to your body. Like, it almost feels like that's obvious, but I ignored the pain for so long, and it was excruciating pain. It's pain that's really hard to ignore. Like, it would keep me up at night. So it was pain so fears and worries can be so debilitating to the point where you actually don't go and get checked. So that's number one, because if I had listened sooner, my surgery wouldn't have been that big. And then just if you have these worries, if you have these fears, if you have these core beliefs and subconscious, everything that, I know that it's things that I can't even control. They're not in my conscious, it's like subconscious thoughts that I've learned from when I was younger, from whatever happened to me, even from my mother's womb, even ancestral. Like, those things were made up of so many thoughts that we cannot control. And if I had known, and that the mind is powerful over your body, but if I had known that it's that powerful to the point where I'm so afraid of getting cancer and then I get cancer, like, I would have turned to therapy, healing, meditation years and years ago. That was like a mental health issue that I didn't know that was a mental health issue. I kind of was like, if I just quiet my thoughts, if I quiet my fears, if I just push them, suppress them, then they're not there. But it's not true. They are there. They're in your subconscious, So so I worked with a woman who reprograms the subconscious, and I still work with her weekly. And so by bringing, it's like peeling back layers and layers, and by bringing those fears and worries and thoughts to the conscious, you're aware of them, and you can control them, and you can, change how you think. I don't know if that makes sense.
It's so wildly true. And we've spoken about this because I've had that same
Right.
experience. And that's what led me to this practice. I had health anxiety and I was about to think my way into a really terrible illness. And if I hadn't, I mean, who knows if I even had at that point. But I was on my way to doing that. And gratefully, I found this practice before and did a lot of subconscious work as well, because when you it's advised you wake up before the sun rises and you do these really deep meditations and healings that can actually create these new neural pathways. And I would spend all day literally brainwashing myself, because that's kind of what it is when you're creating these new patterns. It's like, okay, Erica, you're thinking a thought of fear. Now we're going to take this into a thought that you actually want to create, because both of them at this point can be labeled as fake or fantasies, but allow me now to put it towards something I actually wish to create rather than what I do not wish to create. So I understand and I feel you on that. And it's, I can't imagine the process you went of it actually coming to fruition, having to go through all that. But it's so true, realizing the power that our thoughts hold, and it truly creates our reality. And it could sound woo-woo until you
Exactly.
actually start experiencing practicing it. And there's so many studies that prove this. There's actually a trend right now on TikTok called the Tinkerbell
I didn't see
effect,
that.
where they're coming up with these studies that show there are two groups. One of the TikToks I watched was there are two groups, and the two groups both believed they were receiving chemotherapy, and the group that wasn't even receiving chemo was losing their hair. This is just from TikTok. I didn't look up the actual study, but this is what they're reporting. And I have read things like in the book, I'm sure I told you about the book Cured by Dr. Jeffrey Rediger, one of my favorite books. You read about these studies that are done, and it's so empowering to hear how much power our thoughts truly have. But sometimes when we realize that, it's scary because we
Exactly.
realize where our thoughts have been for so long. And we're like, whoa, I have a lot of work to do
Exactly.
if this is
And that's what I'm saying when I'm saying that it was like a mental health issue. Like I
us.
was like, I thought I was good. I was positive. I'm a very positive person. I'm optimistic. But when it comes to health, because I'd been through a lot when I was younger, when I was born with like certain health issues with hospital, like there was some trauma there. So when it comes to health, everything, like when it comes to business and growing and succeeding in that, I can just, there's no fear. There's no worry. When it comes to health, it's the opposite. And I used to literally envision cancer coursing through my bones. And I mean, it got to a point where it was so bad that I was at my lowest. I really was at my lowest, and I was feeling so much pain at this time, and I just didn't know what to do. These thoughts were
Yeah.
debilitating, and that's what you kind of went through. And that's, if you can be proactive and get ahead of that, because I feel like also a lot of times we operate from our mind, like our mind plays
Mhm.
tricks on us. So these thoughts, they're not real. They're not, they're
Yeah.
not, they're not real right now in this moment. Like, so if we just learn, I'm trying to learn to operate more from just like my heart, listening to my gut, my heart, like less from my mind.
And in those moments, I just feel guided to say cancel clear, because you were saying like you would visualize that going through your body. And if someone who's listening struggles with that too, where those thoughts of fear creep in, or you visualize something that is not the desirable outcome, or you feel something, you're thinking something, I'll immediately say cancel clear. And my husband will look at me like, what are
Cancel
you
clear.
doing? And I'm like, cancel clear. That's out of my mind. Or even if I say something out loud that I don't want to bring into reality, I'll say cancel clear. And you're literally stopping that thought. And then you're taking a moment to like reset it and rewire it and literally clearing,
Rewire.
because
Rewire.
yes, and sound or thought, everything's a
Yes.
frequency and it continues to ripple out. So if you don't stop it in its tracks and clear that shit out, getting it out, it'll vibrate on. So
And then obviously it becomes more complicated when you have, gut issues, which affect our brain, affect our mind, affect the anxiety that feeds those thoughts. It affects our serotonin, and and then you're like lost in a web, and you're just spiraling. So I don't have all the answers, and I feel like everyone is, because a lot of people now ask me, because I had cancer and I don't anymore, or I have Hashimoto's and I'm dealing with it, or I don't have the answers, but I feel like addressing your mind, like your mental and emotional health first, is like crucial.
Yeah, I would have to agree, right? Yeah, because a lot of spiritual teachers who I followed believe that everything really originates from that. And it's a very hard concept to lean into.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very hard concept, but that is what some people and teachers and healers do believe. And it's interesting, but that's definitely such an important component.
And it's freeing. It's freeing to and empowering. And I remember when I was meditating every single day, when I meditate every single day, you create this like bubble. You create this like bubble of happiness and like light. I swear. And so that's the frequency that you're constantly living in. And it's amazing.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of work to stay in that space, because there's a lot of outside forces, especially right now, just on the planet, a lot of energy happening and shifting. And that's why it takes like that work, whether you're doing it 4 times a week or tuning in every day and just taking, even if it's just a moment, just taking that moment. Yesterday, I was working and I had 10 minutes. I was with someone, but she was going to do something else. And I just had a moment. I didn't have my phone with me. She actually had my phone, and I'm like, oh, I'll just drop in right here. And I just took a moment by myself in the corner and dropped right into that space. And we have to, be creative with how we find the time to do it, and just go back to that frequency as often as possible to create that vortex in and around us.
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting. And then we're going to wrap up with just one more question, but how you said the fear in your life was mostly around health, and in business, there was never fear. And like, look at all that you've generated. Exactly. And it's just so reflective of everything that you were able to create, and having no fears, not worrying about what anyone else is saying, and just going for it and knowing that you're not going to fail, and leaning into that, I think contributes a lot to your success as well. Like your mindset around that.
Exactly. It's right. It's like we talk about manifesting. I just knew that I was going to make it. There was no fear. And maybe it's because I come from a family of entrepreneurs, but I don't know. There were a lot of people who doubted me, even my family members, which, that was out of love. Dave and I didn't doubt ourselves. I just knew that I needed a break, and I knew that I needed to keep going. I knew that it was going to happen. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to, if I could do that with business, if I could do that with success, then I can also do that with my health,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are some of your daily non-negotiables?
Okay. This definitely changed over the past year. For many, many years, I put myself on the back burner. I really, I always took care of my skin, and I took care of myself, but clients always came first. Instagram always came first. Everything came before me. My kids came, everything. And after going what I went through, I understood like never again. Never again. I don't care what. I am going to do everything to create the day and the energy that I want in a day for myself, what I need out of this morning or out of the day. And I have done that. Like, I really, every single morning, obviously, if I could wake up and watch the sunrise, it's like, I don't feel better than that. Like, when I do that, I feel my best. I love it.
Yeah.
And I tend to do that when it starts, like, come fall to about like November, December. Dave and I do that. It's just kind of like we get into that rhythm. But every morning, I mean, reflexology, facial reflexology, something that is kind of like my meditation, like how you wake up and you do your meditation. Facial reflexology is like my thing. I have to do it. I have to,
Really?
yeah, daily. Like I clear the pathway. It's just about clearing the pathways in your body. It's sending energy to the organs, to the systems, and really jump-starting the process to all of that. And also, you know how it is when your work is, for you, meditation. For me, I teach about facial reflexology. I teach about all of these modalities. You have to live it. You have to do it. You can't just talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
That's how you inspire people most, I feel, to do it themselves.
Yeah.
So I love that. And it takes 10 minutes, not more. So easy.
Okay.
And I spend every morning, Dave and I sit outside or in the wintertime here and we talk. Like we talk for, you know, we connect, we talk for like sometimes a good hour. And it just, I don't know, it feels really nice. Like we just have coffee and we talk about the future or the present or whatever it is, dream. And then I try to get in my meditation at least 3 times a week now. If I'm being honest, I don't do it every day. I want to do it every day, but I haven't been. I will get back to it. I will get back to it because I feel so good when it's every day, but definitely 3 times a week. But I will say every single day when I'm doing my skincare routine or when I'm getting ready, when I'm taking a shower, the mantras are playing, the music is playing. I'm doing some, and that really is a big release for me as well. Just chanting, it's huge because I also love to sing. I've sang my whole life. So that's, I know it's just a very big release. So I do that every day. What else? My non-negotiables. I can't think.
I feel like you always have a juice or a smoothie.
So that is something that I would do every single day. I love the flavor of salads, juices, smoothies. I love the fresh and lightness of those. But I spoke to you about that right now I have to be careful with that stuff because of the infection that I had. But yes, like once I get this taken care of, that is something that I pretty much, my diet, I'm pretty much, you know, I make sure to introduce a lot of my veggies, either like salads, my protein, my bone broth. I don't go a day without nourishing my body one way or the other. Yeah, I mindful eat for sure.
Yeah. I'm interested in trying the one that you've been posting about, the date, orange juice, and banana.
It's so
Seems
good.
like such an interesting combination, but you're loving it. So I want to try it.
So this was like maybe 15 years ago. I was in Israel at this breakfast place. And I got this juice and it was like the most delicious thing I've ever had. So I just started recreating it, but I haven't done it in years. And I just thought about it recently and it's really so good. And you don't need that much orange juice even. You could use more water, less oranges, but it's very simple, very fast, like the fastest smoothie you'll ever make because it's not like taking things from the freezer or boop, boop. You just squeeze orange juice. You could add some hemp. Because I love the nutty flavor of hemp. And then you have this, and it makes me feel good. Just mindful eating makes me feel good.
Totally.
But I don't know about other non-negotiables. I feel like really important for me to play music in the home all day. You know, when my children are here cooking, it's just being present with them. That's a big thing for us. Just creating like a good energy in the home is something that we strive for every single day.
And I feel that watching when your daughters are dancing and you're all sitting around watching and enjoying it. I feel that energy for sure coming from you. It's
so
beautiful.
Important. Yeah.
It really is. It's so beautiful. So gua sha, you're doing like 3 or 4 times a week?
I love gua sha. It's not a daily thing. So it's definitely not like, I would say a non-negotiable, but yeah, that stone, you know how I feel about that stone. And that practice is so powerful that everybody should be doing gua sha. If you could do it every day, you will transform your face. You will transform your face. If you do gua sha, I've seen women who are in their 50s, 60s who are really good students and do gua sha every single day, and they have a different face. It's
Wow.
wild.
It's wild.
So because I do so many things for my audience, I don't do gua sha every day, but definitely 3 to 4 times a week. And usually in the morning. I don't really like doing it in the evening. So like I will do my reflexology, and then I'll, whatever, have that time with Dave. I'll then go into my bathroom. I'll cleanse. I'll do my gua sha. I'll put the mantra on. I'll do my routine, whatever it is. I've been loving yoni steaming. That's another thing that I've been doing that's really just pulling out all of the things, but just opening everything up. Gua sha is very face taping. Oh my God, Erica, you have to do face taping.
I have to.
You don't understand.
I know. I'm so guided to it every time someone posts something that like they've done it after you've taught them. I have to do it. I have to get into it. It's just, as you know, it's a lot to manage all these things. But I guess taping, you just sleep with it. So it's actually working for you. It's less I have to do.
You could be exactly. Gua sha is like it's like more work than face taping. Yeah. I used to think face taping was hard because you have to like cut it's 2 seconds once you cut. Okay. But like anything new that you learn, it's like a little bit overwhelming at first, and you're like, what the frick am I doing? And am I doing this right? But once you get the hang of it, and once you see the results, and you don't even have to, like, I don't sleep with the tape on my neck or on my face. I actually like put it on, then I do some work. I answer emails or DMs or clean the house, whatever I have to do, 2-3 hours, take it off. And it's like insane. Wow. It's insane. And the forehead you sleep with overnight, and it really works. Like, so if people are concerned with wrinkles, you have this thing that works.
Okay. I'm going to try it. I want to try it for my eyes, but I will say, I feel like I see a difference in using the gua sha and the sea buckthorn oil. More recently, all of a sudden, I felt a really big shift, and I am trying to do it 3 to 4 times a week. I try. The only thing is my hair gets greasy from all the oil. So I'm always like, I need more dry shampoo. But other than that, like I want to start every day with it, because sometimes I'll wake up and I'll feel like my eyes feel tired, and I'll know. I'm like, I just need to wake my face up with that stone, and you're just, it's so special. It gets everything going. It feels so good.
Exactly. And by the way, 3-4 times is perfect. Like, hardcore is daily, but 3-4 times is a beautiful you could transform your face as well,
Okay. And you're allowed to do it at night. You just need to make sure you hydrate after. That's why you don't love the nighttime. Am I right? It's kind of what I picked up.
So I sometimes will feel like doing it at night just to relax myself.
Yes.
It's nice, but you got to do it earlier in the evening, because if you don't drink the water, like all the toxins that you're, moving and, we're stimulating, we're opening the lymphatic pathways, you have to pee it out. You have to hydrate. Otherwise it will pull back. So,
gotcha.
So you can just drink, a little bit, like half of 16 ounces, early in the evening, and then do the gua sha. A lot of people do it at night. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And I just wanted you to share about the upcoming products that you're launching. I'm so excited for you.
I know. It's really exciting. It's been in the works for, oh my God, it's taken us forever. And this was also because of everything that I went through. I was working for a very long time, for like 2-3 years. I was working at like 40% capacity. Like I could only give so much. Do you know what I mean? So now I just feel like that I feel good mentally, physically, emotionally. Like I can hit harder. I could just go, and things are rolling, and everything that we wanted to work on, we'll be working on. This is an herbal mask that my mom's been using in her treatment room post needling for like 20 years, over 15 years. And I've always loved it. Her patients love it. It's beautiful. It's kind of like a do it yourself, like you mix it with an egg white. So I don't know how that works for people who are vegan, unfortunately, but are you a vegan or vegetarian?
I'm mostly vegan. I'm mostly vegan.
So you don't eat eggs? You don't eat eggs?
No.
Oh my goodness.
I know that I've done an egg mask before in the past, and it feels like it really tightens the skin. So I can imagine what that feels like.
It's firming, it's tightening, it refines your pores, but it also repairs the skin. Like if somebody goes into the sun and gets a sunburn, they put in egg white and it will repair it that much quicker.
Wow.
And it also acts as a peptide, which allows, the facilitation of the herbs to penetrate the skin. It's beautiful. It calms inflammation. It's really good for acne, for pigmentation. So that's coming out soon. Awesome. It's at like the end stage. It's just a lot of the, details. It's not easy to make your own stuff.
The branding looks beautiful too. I loved
your. You like it?
I loved it. I love it.
Good. Yeah. I love how it came out, and we worked on that for so long because I'm crazy, but I'm so happy with how it came out.
So great. And I'm sure like everything else that we've spoken about on your path, this is divine timing. So just it taking longer than expected. I'm sure it's for a reason and will align perfectly for everyone that's ready and excited to use it. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. And thank you to everyone who's listening. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation today and you just feel the light that Danna offers and shares with the world here through the podcast episode. May the longtime sun shine upon you. Thank you for being here and have a great day. See you next time.